Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing mono black aggro with no reserve list cards. You can build this deck for a few $100s, and it is a Legacy power level deck. Let's take a look at how it works. First, we've got this new creature, my Scornful Striker from the Avatar set. 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 black for a 2/2 first strike. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. That is a serious clock. If your opponent's trying to cantrip, if they're trying to combo off, that can really cut their combo short. We also, of course, have Bowmasters, one of the most disruptive creatures ever printed. It's in the deck. So we've got 2 sources of direct damage, even if they manage to gum up the board and we can't get our attackers through. But we're probably going to get our attackers through because we have 8 freaking Goyfs. We've got the Nether Goyfs and the Barrow Goyfs. They're going to come through and they're going to get huge, and we are going to hymn people. One of everybody's favorite card. If this isn't your favorite card, something is wrong with you. It just feels so right to hymn somebody. And then, of course, we got Thoughtseize and the Dream, of course, Dark Ritual into Thoughtseize, hymn to Torok. We also have Dauthi, Voidwalker. There is less reason to be concerned about the graveyard, but we're still going to respect it here because this creature is unblockable and it's basically a flip Delver for 2 mana. We also have some Baubles to buff our Goyfs, and we have exactly 20 lands, and then we're playing Fell the Profane, the best multi-face land, in my humble opinion. The fact that it can kill a creature or a planeswalker once you get up to 4 mana, and it can serve as a land, and of course it can pitch to one of our key anti-combo cards. We have Thoughtseize in the main, but we also have 4 Unmasks. I think against combo, you just want to be Thoughtseizing them and hymning them as much as possible. So I always put 4 Unmasks in my sideboard, and they often serve me right. We also have 4 Ley Lines. Again, this just comes in the extreme matchups of like Oops All spells, which are not good matchups for us, where we're not going to have any time to even Thoughtseize them before they go off. We also have Damping Sphere, which is great against the big mana decks. Torpor Orb, which is great against the ETB trigger decks like Death and Taxes. And I've got 3 removal spells in the sideboard. The deck is very removal light because the meta is kind of creature light right now. So like Fatal Push could in theory be a dead card. Thoughtseize is almost never a dead card, right? Like I want to play cards that are generally always good, and then we can make some adjustments. We're up against aggro, but let's take out the Thoughtseizes. Let's bring in some Fatal Pushes, right? So and maybe a Torpor Orb. It would actually be nice if we had exactly 4 cards to replace Thoughtseize with. But let's go ahead and jump into the first round. We're going to play a full 5 rounds as always. All right, and our opponent in round 1 almost always plays Reanimator. I want to mulligan this no-lander. Even on the draw, I think it's too risky. What? Another no-lander. Okay, not a good start to the league. We have 20 lands. This has 2 lands we can put back, and then we had Thoughtseize into him. I'm going to keep this. I think this is probably sufficiently disruptive. I'll keep the Wasteland. I'll put back... no, I'm not going to keep the Wasteland because I need to be able to cast him. Yeah, if they're on Reanimator, usually... that doesn't work anyway. They may have switched to archetypes since Reanimator got nerfed heavily with the banning of Entomb, which has happened by the time we're watching this, thankfully. Rest in pieces. Okay, so I do think I always open Thoughtseize rather than Goyf. I just want to check their hand. I know we could be doing more damage. If we... is that true, though? No, I'm gonna Thoughtseize. I get combo vibes from them. Okay, and sure enough, they do have Faithless Looting. We take this, and they can't really do anything. Oh, they can flash it back with Dark Ritual. Oh, no. I think we're going to die. Oh, you'll also note that him is not going to be very good here. So I think what they're probably going to do is flash it back with Dark Ritual, but then they won't have the mana to Animate Dead. I guess I should have taken the Animate Dead. But what I'm going to do is... oh, Shallow Grave to the yard. Okay, so if they don't have the means of doing it right now, we might get lucky with our hymn. Dark Ritual. Faithless Looting. They've already made land drop. They're not going to do it this turn. And now it just comes down to they're going to have 4 remaining cards. Do we hit the Animate Dead out of their hand? If we do, we've still got a ball game. But oh yeah, Arcana Cruelty and Gristlebrand. We're so dead. Oh, never mind. I don't think taking Animate Dead probably wouldn't have done anything there anyway. They had a Shallow Grave. Yeah, we're done. We're not going to beat this Gristlebrand. Okay, so that was a turn 2. It's not as aggressive as it used to be, but like it used to be, they Dark Ritual, and then they Thoughtseize, Entomb, Reanimate. I don't know how many times that has happened to me against these mono black Reanimator decks. So we're going to bring in Ley Lines for sure. It might make sense to bring in Unmask. We don't. I guess the issue is we don't really have anything to cut because we're not going to. We don't have Fatal Push in our deck because Fatal Push doesn't hit any creatures in the deck to our knowledge. The good news is all they saw was our Thoughtseize, so they don't know we're mono black aggro. But we did fetch a Swamp. Him is kind of a liability against them because you can't actually turn things on. But at the same time, they're a combo deck. Like I think we need it to potentially punch a hole. I don't know if they're going to have an answer to a resolved Leyline. They might have like some creature backup plan. So we might want to mulligan aggressively to Leyline. But we actually get to be on the play. So I'll keep either a Thoughtseize hand or a Leyline hand. Or a Dark Ritual into Douthie hand. In terms of cards that I think are lower impact, Bowmasters does do a lot against Gristlebrand. It's not like a lock. They can just not use it. They put the ability on the stack and you have the Bowmaster. It's kind of a dream scenario. It's unlikely to happen. I think I'm just going to cut Nethergoyf just because it's the least exciting. I don't know. Like Baragoyf can actually like trade with those big fatties. If we get in, like, I don't know. You could argue that you want a bunch of Nethergoyfs because if they get Archon out, well, this is pretty simple. This is a keep. And I'm just going to go ahead. Yeah. Okay. And they haven't conceded yet, so we'll go ahead and show them some more information. I think this is just Dark Ritual into Cecil and Mai. And we're getting both of our newer creatures out. Both of these are new additions to the format. And they're dead in a few turns. They have to solve this quickly. They may have like some sort of destroy all enchantments type card. Raucous Theater. Shallow Grave goes into exile. I don't believe Shallow Grave works. Oh, this is nice. Just beat them while they're down. Yeah, I think it's probably better than Bowmastering and upping the clock. Just because that might hobble them for several turns. All right, we're doing 4. We're losing 2 life, which gets us closer to our goal of dropping below 10 life so we can flip this and deal 4 every turn. I'm really excited about Mai. I think she's going to be a really good card. Thoughtseize. Yeah, take 4. You can have my Bowmaster. And I sequenced... Yeah, that's game. Okay. So we just need our game 3 hand to like look like that one. I think on the draw, I am going to bring in Unmask. I'm going to take out Bowmasters. Like, we're just thinking, okay, what are the maximum impact cards? Baragoyf can potentially go toe-to-toe with a Gristlebrand just because he has Death Touch. The lifelink is... And they're going to be putting lots of types in their guard as they do stuff. I mean, we could take it the Bubbles. They're kind of part of our mana base. Like, I only have 20 lands. But... I mean, does that even really matter? The game's kind of like the unfortunate thing about having these combo decks, old man yelling at cloud here, is that they kind of like just destroy like the notion of a normal game anyway. I think Nethergoyf is probably better than Orcish Bowmasters. Yes, Orcish Bowmasters is good exactly against, Gristlebrand, but we're going to get their life total lower. And again, this is way better against Archon because it can potentially come back and it's just a cheap buy. Well, I mean, Bowmasters does give you a body for Archon too. I think I just want to assume the game's going to be as short as possible. And maybe I do want to take one of the Baragoyfs out and just bring in another Goyf. Or maybe I just want to draw to Disruption and don't even plan like for a world in which they resolve one of their meanies. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do that. So we're going to get our Nethergoyfs as big as possible. We're going to try to get their life total to where Reanimate doesn't work anymore. Yeah, that's true. Let's do it. Oh my goodness. Holy guacamole. To the Shadow Realm with you. Okay, they're still playing. They may have an answer. Badlands. Thoughtseize me. Okay. They're going to take the Douthie. I'm going to just start wasting. If they take my Nethergoyf, I can bring it back later. Underground Seed. They're going to try to go Show and Tell route. Reanimating Mine? Well, that's rude. That actually might get them there. I do want to respect Show and Tell here, though. I do think I should waste. Mai is potentially really good. Now I think I just deploy my creatures. I'm not going to let them race me. There's no way. If they have show and tell, though, it will suck. Like if they have like land, dark ritual, show and tell. I think I need to take a chance on deploying my here, though, just to keep the clock going. The good news is they are kind of helping us proc. They don't seem to have a second land. I'm going to save this as a surveil. We're going to add my to the fray. We'll come in for 1, and now we're at parity in terms of damage output. I just hope they don't have Dark Ritual, land Dark Ritual, show and tell monster. That's like the only thing I fear at this point. Next turn, I'll waste them, and that will reduce my fear a little bit. Ancient Tomb. Uh-oh. Well, I'm going to waste the... No, I'm going to waste the blue source. Let's Thought Season. No. I do want to get more damage on the table. I don't want to take 4 damage. They don't have the show and tell clearly. I could use this opportunity to put a monster in the void. Let me just think. So we commit this. We're attacking for 4, but we're taking 4 damage by casting this. I want to cut them off blue. Ancient Tomb, at least when they tap it, it deals damage to them. Oh man, it's hard. So let's see. We drop down to 10 or 9, and then they hit us in 3. I don't think we can do it. I think I'd rather surveil and just hold this. Oh man, it's tough. Let's think about this. So they're at 11. If I just do the math, I should be able to figure out whether I should do it. So Thoughtseize, we drop to 10. Then they or we have to fetch. So we drop to 9. They attack us. We attack them for 4. We're winning. I think I am going to do this. It'll be embarrassing if I lose this, considering I had like the freaking god hand. So we take 2. Okay, they have sneak attack in their hand. I want to take the Dark Ritual because they need to draw 2 lands to do anything. I don't think they're going to be able to draw 2 lands in time. Because when they cast the sneak attack, that also does damage. Okay, that's a land. They are... Oh, no, they're going to use our own land. Oh, wait. I don't have a Badlands in exile, though. What are they going to get? A Delta. They can use my polluted Delta to go to Badlands. I'm going to die. I'm so dumb. I don't think there was anything I could have done, though. I guess I could have hit the Ancient Tomb instead. I didn't expect the show and tell juke. I expected it to be... Oh, they already made a land drop. So they can't play the land. They can't technically redeploy. They can't do anything. Yeah, they screwed up. Okay, wow. We got so lucky. We got so lucky there. Like, we were so close to losing that match that should have been absolute luck. We had, like, the King sideboard card, the best anti-graveyard card ever printed. We had 2 of them in both of our opening hands in the post-war games. Just to reiterate, I do believe they had a line where they could have gotten a Gristlebrand in play, and that would have been enough. They just needed to sequence their lands better. So that was absolutely dodging a bullet. Round 2, we're up against an unknown opponent. This is a double my hand. Mai's legendary. That's why I'm only playing 3. You hope that they don't collide like this. I think we'll keep this in the blind. It's possible they clear this with removal, and we get to deploy the second one. Okay, this might be Delver. Okay, it's just Delver. I do think Mai is pretty good against Delver. I'm going to go ahead and bobble them. Okay, they got a Brazen Borrower on top. I could go ahead and waste them here. The reasoning is it gives us an extra turn to get a Cecil on the table. And the more damage they do, the closer Cecil gets to lifelink, and they'll stop attacking us. And they won't be able to block once they're delirious. I'm just like, Cecil is incredibly good against their deck, and I'm really worried that they're going to have a daze. I think I'm going to go for it. They should absolutely daze this. Okay. They don't seem to have counter magic, because like, if I were a Delver player, I would daze that in a heartbeat. We get our card. Plenty of lands. 20 land is a really low land count, and I was kind of worried about that. They may have a bolt for Cecil. They could wait till after we do damage and then bolt. That would be annoying, because then we'd lose the life, and then we wouldn't have the Cecil around to help us recoup it later. So they did have a second land. They're fetching. They bend a daze off of their Wait, how did they get that in the yard? Oh, off of DRC. Okay. All right. Well, there's no bolt forthcoming here. DRC may get airborne here. It doesn't look like it's going to. All right. We're going to crash in. Thoughtseize. I don't think we cast Thoughtseize at all against them. I think I do want to cast Mai, and I think there's a decent chance it gets disrupted. I'm going to come in for the hug first. This will go through. There's no way they're going to block this. It's possible that I can manually get myself low in life by Thoughtseizing with Mai out, but that doesn't sound appetizing. Like, that sounds extremely dangerous. They're almost certainly going to be hitting us for 6 next turn. Let's see if we can get this to resolve. Okay. That's huge because she is like so much of their deck is casting cantrips and bolts and stuff like that. And I think she's probably good for at least 3 damage when they try to bolt her. The fact that she's first strike, this can't even hang back and block her profitably. Delver flips with Unholy Heat. Okay. If they tap out, I might try to Thoughtseize that out, but I think they're just going to Unholy Heat this. Oh, Corey! I'm actually not afraid of this because they're going to take so much damage from this thing. They should have Unholy Heated first. I think they're unfamiliar with the card and they don't realize how good it is. Because, like, if I were them, I would have just Unholy Heated instantly. But they might be worried about Paragoyf, which is the best card in our deck against them. Okay, they take another 2 from Mai. They get another Surveil. Surely she's delirious. They're going to come in for 8. She's still not delirious? Okay. All right, we're going to take a bunch of damage. Cecil's about to flip. We've got another Goyf, which is very good at holding down the fort. It's already a 2-3. He'll be larger if I fetch. I do think I just deploy Mai and another Goyf this turn after I flip this dude. Let's do it. We drop to 10. They may be able to bolt us out before we can use the lifelink ability. Okay, we've got a 4/4 lifelink. That is good. I don't think I'm going to fetch because I'm really worried about my life. We go like this. She's more important to resolve than Nethergoyf, and now we'll resolve Nethergoyf. Next turn, we have Fel the Profane to kill one of their creatures. It's just a question of, like, their monks are not necessarily going to be able to beat us now. DRC, they're still not delirious, which is crazy. I think that they're very likely to get delirious here. Petty Theft, targeting our dude. That's bad news. I think we might have just died. Maybe it was correct for me to Thoughtseize them when I knew they had that in hand. I totally forgot, to be completely honest. I'm not going to pretend like that was a tactical decision. Okay, so we're pretty vulnerable here. They're at 7. They won't necessarily die on the crackback. If they cast any more spells, they will. Okay, we're just taking 6 in the air. They're keeping lots of blockers up. There's no way we can get through, unfortunately. We'll do so much damage to ourselves if we do any of this. I almost feel like we do need to attack with her just so we can Dark Ritual and Fel the Profane one of their creatures, but I think we've lost. I don't know that it's worth showing them any additional information. Yeah, that was disappointing. Yeah, there's no way we can get through all those blockers. I think the correct play was indeed to just Thoughtseize that out of their hand instead of playing the Nethergoyf. It didn't feel like it at the time because that would have been involving doing a lot of damage to ourselves. Okay, so for this matchup, Fatal Push is absolutely coming in. And we're taking out all our Thoughtseizes. If we're taking out all our Thoughtseizes, we could bring in one Leyline. I know that sounds weird, but it is randomly good against them sometimes. Like if we just happen to get it in our hand, it wrecks them. Because it shuts off Merc and DRC. And frankly, I just would never cast a Thoughtseize against them. I don't think it's good. You don't want to be doing damage to yourself against the burn deck, which is what their deck fundamentally is. It's like a burn deck that tempos you. Okay. We should be favored in this matchup in theory. But as I like to say, in theory and practice are the same. In practice, they're not. Okay. So this is a Cecil start. We might actually shock in Fel the Profane to be able to start jamming Deathies. We could draw a land though, so I'm going to wait till next turn to do that. I am going to start with Cecil. And this is what I mean. Like that card, this card is so flexible. It could have removed a creature last turn. There were just too many creatures, so it didn't matter. But yeah, Swamp, Cecil, and this might draw a bolt, which I don't think it will. They probably actually want us to hit them a few times to get our life total lower. Barry, we're not going to be wasting them in this game because we need to resolve this. This is the card. I'm just going to go ahead and pretend I don't have a land and see what they do here. If they want a bolt. They don't. All right, very high likelihood that they have a bolt in hand with the way they're playing. Like Delver never just doesn't do anything. But I am going to go for this just in case. Like they don't. We have a second one. Oh, wow, it's in. But where's the bolt going? They're going to use this mana. I've never seen Delver not use their mana. There we go. And so actually Unholy Heat couldn't have hit this. Corey, and then they have the bauble to hit us. Okay, if they hit us, that gets us low enough that this flips. Also, we can play a Bowmaster in the upkeep. Is that the right play? Just to get an extra ping? I think it might be. Oh, it's so sweet that they're not attacking. I'm just going to ping it. Do you have a daze? All right, and I'll kill it. Unless you have a 0 mana spell. I don't think you do. Right. I could have pinged myself. That's nice. I could take him off red here. I think that's probably a mistake. But if they play another Quarry and another Bauble, it's like really brutal. Next turn I have Douthie. I'm just worried if they fire a Wasteland at us, we can't. We're too mana intensive. I'm just going to hold my waste. Leave a comment with the timestamp if you disagree. Conventional wisdom is you don't waste Delver. We have like basically I win the card, a game card in our hand. They've already used one of their maybe 2 Punishing Fires in their entire deck. There's the Wasteland I was afraid of. I'm glad I didn't use my waste. This is fine. Okay, Delver, they get a dude. So Bowmasters can jump in next turn, assuming they don't also... I think they are going to waste here. They'll probably just waste our Felmire. Yep. So we can still Bowmaster to kill this. Actually, I'll kill this. I think we're going to win this one. Okay, that's great. So now I'm going to go ahead and... the conservative play is to play around days because we could draw another land. And just clear their material. And you always go after DRC before you go after Delver. Let's go across. This is about to flip into a lifelinker. And it will be unblocked. Okay, they're double blocking. So I can kill both because I have Death Touch. All right, let's kill them both. So we drop a little in life. They have no board. This is actually a time when I could like waste them, but I'm going to be chill because Baragorf is going to arrive. Another Quarry. Do you have another thing to trigger it? No. Okay. I'm going to hit them with everything, and then I'm going to play the Baragorf, and then they're going to concede because there's no hope from there unless they have a daze, which isn't even good because they're dead on board practically. You knew it was there. All right. Brazen Borrower could get this out and buy them a turn. A Brazen Borrower plus like some sort of bauble, but their cantrips are shut off. All right. That was the slaughter. And that's how I expect these games to go down, frankly. Now, it will be a little harder on the draw. I'm going to keep my ley line in. Let's do it. All right, this is a No Guts, No Glory Baragorf. This is a 1-lander. So we Dark Rit, they daze, that's the game. Most likely. But I think it is powerful because him is great against them. We just need this Dark Ritual to resolve. And they almost always play out. Yeah, so I'll just push and I'll him is what I'd like to do. Wow, lots of baubles. Too bad we don't have Bowmaster. Okay, let's draw one of our 20 lands, please. Or one of our 4 double face cards. All right, that is not what I wanted, but I'll take it. It's good in the matchup. Like, it's something to do. Okay, they let us have the mana. So if we him them first, that decreases the likelihood that they're going to be able to daze the Fatal Push. They may force. No, we got a bolt and brainstorm. All right, so we're just chilling until we find a land now. But we did wreck their hand. They're going to draw an extra card. They'll have 4 cards in their hand next turn. They've got 1 land. We just need a second land, and we can just start stamping these things up. But there's no Ponder or Brainstorm coming to help us with that. We just have to organically draw it. Okay. All right, it looks like they didn't find a land, which is nice because they're stuck where we are in the doldrums. Land! Let's do this. Do your thing. Punish those cantrips. Bolt. You can take 2 for the pleasure. It's 1 for 1. And because they cleared that one, the fact that we have a second one is very nice. They could drop a Merc from here. We don't have recourse. Barragoyf does race Merc, though. And Barragoyf's already a 5. Okay, they're dazing. Don't have the Merc. They've got 2 to 3 Mercs in their deck. That's the scariest card. Land drop. Not too worried about that when their deck is designed to function on 2 mana. Nethergoyf. It's something we can cast. 4/5. Bigger than pretty much any of their creatures other than Merc. They fetch Surveil. Surveil says. They kept. This is the Merc. We're screwed. If they have a Daze in their hand, this Barragoyf won't resolve. If the Barragoyf does resolve, we can win. Come on, land. Goyf number 2. If they attack, we are actually ahead. If they deploy some chump blocker, we push. 4 lands. They're flooded. They don't attack. A bolt shakes it up, though, if they have a bolt. We did take a bolt out of their hand with the Hem. They're not attacking. Okay. This is good. It's buying us time to find land. Cecil, get in there. This is Death Touchy. They attack. Cecil flips. We have a lifelink engine. This is why you play a lot of 1-drops. Situations like this come up all the freaking time. This comes in. I'm going to wait. I don't want to get dazed. Wasteland. This is the magic land number 3. I think we wait another turn cycle. Just in case we draw a land, I need to kill this. All right, it worked. We'll chill. If they find a second Merc, it's not that bad because they don't have any instants or sorceries to feed to it. They're probably not prioritizing getting dazed at this point. This is some Fast and Furious legacy gaming right here. Let's see what they have. Cutter. That is a card advantage engine. Do they have a second spell? They almost certainly do. They can equip. That would be dumb, though, because they would flip Cecil and they take a ton of damage. But they might actually be able to kill us before Cecil. Like if they have a bolt, they attack for 8 before we can get our... They're doing it. Are you going to attack? You mad lad. I think we just died. Because what that indicates to me is that they have a bolt. And they have exactly enough to kill us with bolt. If I don't attack with Cecil, if I hold him back, then I can let Barry do his thing. Land! All right. Barry, get in there. Do you have Force Blue card? Okay. Now, we're going to play conservatively. Let's attack like this. They can Brazen Borrower back, but I'm not going to let them kill me with just a bolt. No, wait, they still can kill me with just a bolt. Oh, no. Yeah, this sucks. I feel like we win this usually. Sorry, my excellent friends. Oh, yes, you're telling me there's a chance. All right. They've already got Bobble in the yard, but it does grow my Goyfs. It grows them to lethal. This is like a force block situation now. See what your top card is over there? If they have... Okay, they're drawing a land, which is great for us. Do you have Brazen Borrower? I think I attack with everything here. Wait. If I attack with this, I might be putting myself in additional danger. They have to block one of these anyway. They're going to block the Barragoyf. My life will fall. I will have a lifelinker, but it won't matter because they'll have me dead in the air. They have the mana to Brazen Borrower and to attack. I can fetch, turn on Revolt, and push it. But, yeah, I don't think I should attack with this. Let's think about this. So, let's say that I attack with Cecil. They Brazen Borrower the Barragoyf back. They kill one of these on combat. They swing in. They take 5. They drop to 4. They attack with both. I can fatal push one of them. Then they need the bolt to kill me. I'll be at 1. But then if I'm at 1, I can't fatal push. So I do need to keep this back. Because I have to... Oh, wait. I can turn on Revolt with this. I don't need to fetch. Let's live in that world. We did it! They didn't have the Brazen Bar. They usually only play 1. Okay. We're 2-0. And just a quick note from the previous round, in case you're typing in the comments, just losing our Baragoyf to combat would have turned on Revolt for the Brazen Bar anyway. We're up against King Capybara, a Brazilian capybara, as we Americans or Texans call it, capybara. We don't like saying our long A's. They've been playing a pretty powerful Affinity deck. I have a Dark Ritual into my Scornful Striker. They have a lot of artifacts in their deck. I think that this will do a lot of damage to them if they try to go wide. And we also have Thoughtseize here. I'm going to keep this. And this is like the power of mono black, is this card right here. Dark Ritual. 33 years later, it's still kicking in butt. And we will Thoughtseize first just to make sure they don't have a force. Because they are a force-capable deck. I'm loving Mai so far. She's been doing so much damage to my opponents and to myself. She is a cruel mistress. Like, she does not have any loyalty at all to you. She's like, anybody who casts a non-creature spell. No non-creature spells around here. She throws like this weird flaming knife at you. All right, so the other thing we're doing by like doing all this stuff is we're getting like tons of types in our graveyard. So when we draw one of our Goyfs, one of our 8 freaking Goyfs, we are going to be able to go to town. All right. So they do have a counter spell, but it's not one that I really worry about. Pinnacle creates a bunch of chump blockers, but they can actually only block flyers. So they can't block any creatures in our deck because we don't have any flyers in our deck. I don't really worry about Rebuke. We're going to hit their Saga and not their Tomb. We're going to let them do damage to themselves. Pinnacle can come back. I'm actually more worried about Kappa. I'm not really worried about any of these cards. I'll just play around Rebuke for the rest of the game. Yeah, because Kappa could come out with all these emissary tokens. Yeah, so we're going to do that. Good luck, friend. You're going to need it. You're going to be taking so much damage from those baubles. Now, if they find a Emery, then they could cast this from graveyard. This card is scary. I don't think it's good, but a lot of people like it. I don't play it in my Affinity decks. All right. 2 damage to you. Now they're going to flash in the Emissary. Okay, he is a creature. He does not... Mai is like, okay, pass. No creatures. She's going to sting him again. Okay, that bobble's in. And they're incentivized to play out all these bobbles and take tons of damage. And if they Rebuke, it's going to be an extra 2 damage. So that was another reason I decided to leave them with it. Okay, there's the Urza Saga. That is their hope, probably. And once I waste this Urza Saga, hope will dissipate. They are drawing some cards. They looked at our Wasteland preview of the next turn. Best draw would be just like Nethergoyf, probably. It would be huge here. Okay, another Wasteland is not something I'm going to complain about. Let's come in for our hug. And after we are done wasting them, we will surveil and find something that is good. The only card selection in our deck, the one Surveil land. By the way, there are mono black decks that play Daze, which is pretty cool. Okay, they're on Painter. Interesting. That is an angle where they could potentially kill us. But I don't know why they would play that out. I mean, I guess they have to, but they're doing so much damage to themselves. Unless they have the actual thing. I'm going to waste this, by the way. It's going to be a real race for them to actually resolve Painter in time. Because they're going to have to tap Ancient Tomb. Okay, they're bobbling. Okay, that's a dead draw. So we're just going to go ahead and do this. Now they have Ancient Tomb as their sole remaining land. And they have Metallic Rebuke. So we have perfect information about their hand, but they're about to draw 2 cards. One for turn and one for the bobble. This card is freaking cracked. My goodness. I love this card. This punishes Storm. It punishes what they're doing over there. Boom. She soloed them. She completely soloed them. She did like 14 damage by herself. They didn't even tap the tomb. Okay, so Damping Sphere, pretty good. Pretty good. It like makes their spells cost more. Fatal Push is great here because they do have Emery, whom we need to shut down. Cards that we don't want. I don't think we want Thoughtseize. They're an aggro deck. They deal tons of damage really quickly. And for that reason, you always take Thoughtseize out. So we have one too many cards. Maybe we just want one Damping Sphere. And then we just are mainly aggroing them. I don't want to mess with the mana. Like, I know we got flooded there, but previous games we were struggling to find land. A lot of times on the draw, I'll take out a land. Torpor Orb stops a few things, but it's not good enough. Creatures entering don't cause abilities to trigger. So this stops Emery's mill effect. This stops Thought Monitor, which is a terrible card that nobody should be playing, but a bunch of people are playing it. As you can tell, I'm a very opinionated Legacy player. And you can watch my Affinity 5.0 where I play like basically just the hits. Like, I don't mess around with that high curve stuff that you never get to cast because this is Legacy. Cards are supposed to cost 1, 2, or 0. Okay. Yeah, I think this is good. Let's roll. None of these cards are dead. Douthie even can pull some weight. Douthie is not as good as he used to be, obviously, with graveyard strategy sucking, but he is still a unit. Barrow is quite strong against them. This is a 3-land hand. I'm not going to chance it. Felder Profane can kill something big later. We might get to that much mana. We've got Cecil. The Surveil's already in our hand, which is kind of unfortunate. I mean, Mai was insane. Like, I would love to have another Mai. But we have to understand we're on the draw this game, and they're going to dump their hand. Last game was brought to us by being on the play. Like, I don't think Mai would have done the damage that she did if she hadn't come out turn 1 before they could unload their hand. I do like Cecil a lot. They don't have a lot of removal in their deck. They do have probably the Aether Spellbomb. I don't play it, but everybody else seems to play it. And it's something you can fetch I mean, the fact that he has Death Touch is pretty solid. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep on the strength of Barragwaif. They have tons of types. Like, this could be a 6-7 by the end of the game. And I did intentionally say 6-7 to trigger any kids you have within listening vicinity. Kids love that number for some reason. I have no idea why. Okay. So that's a very strong start for them. Dark Ritual. No. Bowmasters is not too shabby, though. Okay. So we'll be doing that next turn. We can cast this. I do need to fetch regardless. So I'll just get some information from them. Sometimes if you're not sure whether you... Okay, they're drawing seat. Sometimes if you're not sure whether you want to... Like, you can kind of use it as filtering. But I'm not going to use it that way because I want to get my Cecil on the table. Okay, and they could not have Rebuke there. There was a slight pause. They're not like F6 or anything. They may have Rebuke in hand. But they didn't have the artifacts. If they kept that bobble around, they could have. So what I'm worried about is... Oh, damn. Yeah, they're definitely going to be able to produce some tall boys. Okay, that's a bad draw. There's no Brainstorm coming to save us. I always just like fetch the Thin, basically. I'm going to send this over because I have a backup. And then I might... This is like an infinity blocker for their aggro, for their constructs. Yeah, I think I just chill and see if they crack the bubble. And Bowmaster did originally push 8-cast out of the format when it was first printed. So it's possible that it'll do something like that again. I will happily trade Cecil for a construct. Okay, I do need to fetch here. I don't want them to needle my land. So we know they have a Seed of Synod. This would be an opportune time for them to go ahead and play the Thoughtcast. Oh, I think we're probably dead, unfortunately, unless we find a Wasteland. Spellbomb. Oh no, this is precisely what I was talking about. Like this random one-of Spellbomb. They did get Grindstone, so we have to respect the Painter line. Yeah, let's just block here. Do you want to bounce it back to my hand? Okay, so I take 2, but your dude dies. I'm going to do this in the end step. You can bounce it if you'd like. Okay, so let's think about this. With this out, I don't want to play into it. My thinking is probably Nethergoyf and Cecil, and then I just play this out to get it out of the way. The next turn I have Fell the Profane on one of their constructs. And we're just defense here. I'd love to bin a type that, like an artifact or something like that. I will bin that for sure. Okay. Bullet dodged. I'm going to go ahead and play a Cecil last. It doesn't really matter. All right, we've got a good defensive going here, but how is it going to stand up to giant Urza Saga constructs, especially if they get the Shadow Spear? It's not going to stand up well. All right, let's do it. Did you find the Painter? The Painter just wins without having to go through all these creatures. They can just Aether Spellbomb to get this out of our hand. And that's what I'm hoping they do. That's why I wanted to wait on the Baragorglyph. Once Baragorglyph hits, if they've already used this, it becomes very difficult for them to use. They're not even attacking. This is great for us. So we're not going to attack either, but I'm worried about the Painter plan. Because they've already seen a lot of cards. If they had a Painter, they might play it out, but they might be like, I can take my time because they don't have a good offensive. Okay, Fatal Push is clean. Unfortunately, we can't Fatal Push and hit the construct. But, let's see. They use this. If we just redeploy. So I think that's the play. No, the thing is, if we attack in, they have a second one. We do have to reduce their life. I mean, this Ancient Tomb, I'm kind of tempted to just attack all. And then Fatal Push whatever blocks the Orc Army. Because they'll prioritize blocking the Orc Army to get it off the table. We'll definitely lose one thing, but we'll Fatal Push one of the things. They could have Metallic Rebuke and still produce a construct. It's risky. Very risky, but I think I'm going to do that. And if I lose the Bowmaster, it's not the end of the world. My thinking, again, you may think this is reckless, but like this game doesn't get any better for us. They're drawing to a 4-outer, and then we just instantly lose. Because they make their dude. Do we want to push before? I think I'm fine with pushing before. No, I don't want to lose the Bowmaster. So I think one of them is going to block the Bowmaster, and then I'll push that one. Making that one extra damage is not worth it. Okay, interesting. That's not how I would have blocked. I'm just going to kill this. Keep this alive. I don't care about these. These will regrow as they draw. Okay, so that dies. I do 2 damage to myself here. All right, and I don't think I'm dead on board. Like, if they get the Lava Spur Boots, because they're almost certainly going to bounce Barry back to our hand if they don't just counter him outright. 6-7. There we go, kids. All right. So this will definitely get bounced back in the instep, I think. They don't want to attack into this. That reduces the size. They're at 8. So they can't really Alpha Strike us, I don't think. I think they do need to get a Painter kill here. We'll deploy the Baragorglyph as a blocker again. This time they won't be able to block again. 14. Yeah, if they get the Shadow Spear, I think this is death. Yeah, it's death. Mistakes may have been made there. Yeah, because we weren't necessarily dead. Yeah, good game. Oh, wait. They equipped the wrong creature. Oh, this is Shadow Spear. This is not Lava Spur. Okay, so they're going to gain a bunch of ton of life. Chalice on 1. That's fine. So what I can do is I can attack and then I can kill their... I just kill their blocker. Will they take 13? This will flip. I'll have a lifelink blocker. Deathly doesn't help. Okay, so at 13, what's the play? They already know we have Barry. They have 3 cards in hand, so they may very well have Force. I don't feel comfortable waiting to combat to blast that thing. So if we hit them for 7, like blocking doesn't matter anymore, essentially, because of the Shadow Spear, we're dead no matter what. Cecil flips. We take 3, then we gain 4 when we block, but that's still not enough to keep us from death. I do want to keep up the pressure. I feel like if we send this across, there's a decent chance they block just to get it off the table. If we have Nethergoyf and Baragorglyph out, that will successfully survive that strike. But we can't clear this. I mean, part of me just thinks like the most obvious play is just to play the Baragorglyph and pass without attacking. But that does draw us closer to Painter Death. I'm going to go ahead and I should have waited to see whether Baragoi resolves, but I don't think it'll really matter if they have a counter spell for Baragoi if that's the end of the game anyway. Okay, so we take 3. This flips into a lifelinker. And now I'm going to attempt to cast my Berry. It's probably going to get forced. It's in. Okay, interesting. All right, so again, none of this combat stuff matters if they just have the painter, but they have to find the painter. They've seen more than a quarter of the deck, and they've run 4 painters. So we're just getting lucky that they haven't done it yet. Okay, so here, I think the simplest thing to do is just double block this and block this. And we lose a ton. They gain a lot of life, but we don't face constructs anymore. We do have the ability to bring back Nethergoyf. Okay, they have something they're going to do here. This might be sink into stupor. Dismember. Okay, I think that's enough to cause us death. No, it's not. We're on. Okay, and now they have turtle, which we can't block. We also don't have the mana to kill him. They can equip Shadow Spear with him. Mine's too late. Bring back Nethergoyf doesn't change it. We're done. Like, Shadow Spear was absolutely the difference maker. They were unlucky in that they didn't find the painter, but they still won. All right. That was a good game, though. That was definitely like wits. Aggro on aggro. Very kind of classic Magic type feel. Like we could be playing this matchup like 15 years ago. I'm still not bringing in Thoughtseize. I'm not convinced. We took a ton of damage there. I think we just run it back. Unmask is not good enough. I'm just going to hope I get a Mai win. Mai is so strong against this deck. Mai and Bowmasters. All right, this is a Dark Ritual him hand. The Dark Ritual is awkward because I don't have another 1-drop to cast. It's a good hand, though. I think what I do is maybe I Dark Ritual Bowmasters to surprise them. And if they don't do anything worthy of that, I can just shuffle. Yeah, I'm going to keep it, though. I think it's good enough. Next turn, I can him them. And I'll hold up the Surveil for later, because I'm almost certainly going to use this. If they play out a creature that I can push, it's so good. Grindstone. All right. This could just be like a quick Painter Grindstone kill. They can kill as early as turn 2. And that was a window where I could have surveilled. And now I'm not going to get to surveil. But I felt pretty confident that they were going to do something. I didn't expect them to have such an uneventful turn 1. But the basic island means that they're not going to be able to get a quick... So we could play this out and use this as a mana source. Also, Dark Ritual plus Fellow the Profane is a removal spell. I think I might get lucky here. There's a play you can make Dark Ritual into Douthie into him. And then maybe I can him something useful out of their hand and sacrifice the Douthie to get, like, I don't know, a Blastoise or something like that. Yeah, so I'm going to just go ahead and give up on the Surveil. It'll be there for later if we draw a fetch. I'm going to Dark Rit. And we're going to go ahead and Douthie. We're going to him him. Okay. 2 cards enter the exile zone. Emery and Sink into Stupor. Okay. Those are probably not the cards we needed to rip. But it's nice that they're not going to be able to Emery. And Emery wouldn't have done anything here anyway because of Douthie. So in a way, we kind of had bad luck there. Dismember. Well, yeah, that's not bad. Seat. They do have an Emery. Oh no, we have Fatal Push, but we have to somehow trigger a Revolt. So the best draw in our deck is Wasteland by far. Because this has the Painter, so we're dead if they manage to do this. Come on, deck. That's not... Oh wait, this does turn on Revolt. Perfect. Yeah, I guess any fetch would have too, but Wasteland would have been the best. I'll take a look at their top. Drawing Force. I don't have the ability... Well, I could Fel Profane and just go ahead and put my cards on the table. I actually don't hate that. Considering they're drawing Force, I'm going to shock this in, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this now before they draw their Force, because this is a good card against them. All right. 2 Emerys down, 2 Painters down. We get our card. And a lot of their, like, they don't have a super high blue count. It's not bad. Like, my version had, I think, like 30 blue cards or something like that. But they are playing cards like Grindstone and Baubles and stuff. Maybe mine is only like 26. So far, this game is going great, though. Dark Rit, not the best draw. Spellbomb, they can Spellbomb our... another Grindstone. Okay, man, their hand is garbage. They've got Force of Will as their only card. They don't have the mana to use it. I'm going to layer on the freaking pressure here. Let's do it. 3 damage coming in. And then next turn 4. They'll probably, at some point, take the pressure off a little bit by bouncing this. But so many of their cards have the word draw a card. They don't have Force Up. This is a Surveil. Tapping that Ancient Tomb is going to be pretty verboten, which I understand to mean forbidden. If they're just drawing a card, what? That's desperation. I don't think that was the correct play. I thought you would bounce my Orc Army out of play. So they're like basically dead on board. They have to naturally rip Painter, which they absolutely could. They have 2 Painters left in their deck. They need Painter and a land to kill us immediately. We will kill them if they don't. Like, even if they play Painter, but they can't activate, we swing in and they have to, like, it's a force block on Painter, or we do 4. 3-0 with mono black, no reserve list. Bowmaster's in the house. Mai's in the house. We're having a big party tonight. See you in round 4. Round 4, we're on the draw against an unknown opponent with a Wasteland, 3 lands, Dark Ritual into Barragoyf. Dark Ritual into Barragoyf is not bad. If we don't think they have days, we could probably go for it. I'm going to keep this. I basically keep any Dark Ritual hand. This does have 4 lands, but one of these represents the Surveil at least. My opponent says thinking sorry, which may mean they're thinking about their combo, this would be a bad hand if we're up against combo. Okay, this might be show and tell. That's the type of opening a show and tell deck would do, like Sneak and Show. Days, okay, so it's almost certainly just... I think they're looking for land, because you wouldn't lead with that if with the Delver deck. So, I think we just waste them. I don't want to Dark Ritual into a Daze if they have another Daze in hand, because they could have just been this Daze, and it would be really embarrassing for them to get a 2-for-1 for no mana. I'm going to just waste. I think it's the conservative thing to do. Again, I said earlier in the match, like, you don't waste Delver, but that's like the most sclerotic Delver start. And if they were hoping to find a Ponder, well, they're in trouble now because they don't have mana for the Ponder. Okay, they do have a Strand. All right, DRC is good. I would love to rip like a Bowmaster, but okay, yeah, they have the combo too. They can get her Delirious very quickly. Barragoyf is the best card against their deck, which makes me not want to roll it out really quickly. I just want to draw like a 1-drop, like a Thoughtseize or something. Like, even though you don't want to cast Thoughtseize, something that I can make efficient use of my Dark Ritual mana with. They get their card. And you may say, like, oh, they don't always have days, but I kind of feel like you should always play around days. So they're not Delirious yet. I'm going to attempt to Dark Rit into a Douthie. I'll just cast this Barragoyf later. They're not going to be able to Wasteland to disrupt us. Because Douthie will make it so she never gets Delirium. Let's try it. And they may just daze this, which is totally fine. That's actually great for me if they burn a daze here. Like, I would never daze a Dark Rit, but it can sometimes result in you not being, like, yeah. And now the daze that they had it isn't going to do anything. Okay, so this is a very strong position unless they have a Bolt. If they have a Bolt, at least the Bolt goes to exile, so it doesn't grow, and their Surveil doesn't grow. I just want to keep them from being able to do damage to me for a while. Mai's going to be pretty good against their deck, as we saw in round 2. Is the Bolt? Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So, whatever they Surveil goes into exile, the Bolt itself goes into exile. It's just one last thing to feed the Merc later. They put a Tommy into exile, so that would have been enough to make them Delirious. So that's a win. They do have a land, so it was probably an error for me to waste them, and now they do have Delirium. So I think it's going to be as simple as my into Barragoyf and just hope that neither of these get dazed. Our deck only has a few non-creature spells, so we shouldn't bear the scorn of Mai too much. I love thematically, like, she's scornful. Maybe she's envious. She can only cast creature spells, so she's like really upset at people that can cast non-creature spells. I don't know the lore behind it. If somebody who watches Avatar wants to fill us in, by all means. All right, so we're going to keep up our Surveil till the bitter end here. This is probably going to get the daze, but then the Barragoyf, which is the card that we really need to resolve, is hopefully going to not get dazed. Because they were thinking about that Dark Ritual for some reason. Okay, and I was correct. They had the daze. I'm vindicated. I'm not going to win this game, but I did play correctly. If Barragoyf sticks, I might win the game, but they do have Delirium and they do have Punishing Fire in their deck. But it is nice. Like, Fel the Profane, we never needed this as a mana, so we'll be able to cast it toward the end of the game if we have time. Okay, here's the Corey. Do they also have a freaking bauble at this point? That would just be insane. They've been a land. So they dodge the land. Okay, they don't have it. All right. Hopefully they have a bunch of Wastelands and stuff in their hand. All right, moment of truth. Did you have a third daze? I'm not going to clear the path with a him. It's too important for me to get on the table. Well, let's think about this. So what does that mean? We're potentially taking damage. We're playing around daze for the rest of the game, effectively. And I can Surveil. I think I have a high enough life count that I'm comfortable doing this. Because if they do have cantrip into cantrip, like, Corey's going to run away with the game very quickly. If we can get a force out of their hand, okay, what do we get? We got force and preordained. Freaking absolutely the correct decision based on that. Like, this would have gotten forced and we would have lost. So now they have one natural draw. They have two cards. It's going to be hard for them to trigger Corey. Because they are going to draw lands and creatures and stuff. But they could, like, play creature and then play a spell. Preordain means they're heavily invested in getting lots of triggers on this. They're probably not even playing Delver. Which means that our Barragoyf or our orc armies are going to be huge in round 2 and round 3. Hopefully there will be a round 3. I say hopefully now, but if I win this one, hopefully there won't be a round 3. Okay, there's the Wasteland. I'm not going to be surveilling. I don't want to give them a day's equity. They do have Delver in their deck. They're equipping the Delver so they can attack for 2. Yeah, good plays. My opponent's playing tight. Like, yeah, we're taking 5. That's a lot. They are hellbent. I think I am going to surveil because I don't actually mind them wasting me here, and I know they don't have days. It does. So if I surveil, that does mean I can't fell the subsequent turn because they'll almost certainly waste me. It reduces their mana a little bit. I think it's greedy to surveil here. Also, it's possible I just don't even want to crack this, like, depending on the life totals. Cecil, he immediately flips. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cast both of them this turn cycle. I will take the damage. Barry, only a 5/6. Cecil. Next turn, we have Fel the Profane on whatever creatures they have left. If the Delver flips, we're taking 7. And then if they have a bolt, they finish us off. If that's not the case, we're in extremely good position because we're going to hit with Barragoyf, gain 5, and get another creature. Maybe another Barragoyf. That's the dream. Okay, this is a lot of damage coming in. Do they find a bolt? Okay, so they could have days in their hand. I'm not sure what they have. They could have an unmatched force. How do I want to play this? I've already got an artifact in the graveyard, right? I could bobble myself. It doesn't change anything. I'll bobble myself after I attack. So Cecil, I have to stack the triggers. No, like the game, I think the lifelink all happens at once. I guess I have to ask, do I actually want to attack with Cecil? So we're going to go up to 6 life, and then we'll go down to 4 if we attack with Cecil. I don't like that. I don't like being at 4, because we kill this, but then they can just equip. Yeah, and yeah, we have a lifelink, but they have flyers. I can't attack with Cecil. I'm definitely attacking with Barragoyf no matter what, because he's not going to meaningfully block anything on the ground. They could be just holding like a cantrip because they want to get a creature off of it. So we're going to use this ability. Okay, and we found a Bowmasters, which is great. It's extra bodies. We'll take it. Now, I do need to fell this thing, probably. This will hit for 4, but this also gives them card quality. Well, let's see what they're drawing, since we're going to do that anyway. They're drawing Brainstorm, which may mean I want to hold up Bowmaster, because they're almost certainly going to have to cast this. No, I'm dead. I'm dead to combat. I have to cast this. I don't want them surveilling. Okay, that worked. So I think with the Brainstorm, we're probably dead because Cecil can't block, unfortunately. Netherglyph would have been a good draw if I got in a turn earlier. Because they're going to Brainstorm, and they're probably going to find another thing to proc the Quarry. They attack in. I take 3 in the air, and then I take 2 from Cecil. So I'll be at 1, actually. Assuming they don't have enough spells to also... because they're low in mana, but they could find a land. So if they find a land... Yeah, I mean, like, they could have just attacked in the air. So it was a forced play. It's not like I could have played out the Bowmaster. Unholy Heat triggers. This is going to kill our berry, unfortunately. I don't think we have much of a prayer now. They have tons of life. Drawing another berry wouldn't even do it because they can just attack in the air. What we need now is another Fell the Profane to take them out of the air. We will have a lifelinker if they attack here. Okay, so that's dead. Okay, so they're just going to attack in the air. They're not going to attack. So we absolutely have to take this out. The good news is they only have 1 card in hand, and it's probably... I mean, it might be a cantrip. So we drop to 2, which means Cecil just doesn't do anything for this game. Well, yeah, because the lifelink doesn't trigger. So Cecil's just a dead card unless we draw another Beargoyf, which is not what we actually want to draw. Yeah, we lost because they just have 4 in the air. Okay. So, sideboard time. I'm going to bring in the 1 Leyline. Just the exact same sideboard I did before. Leyline's in, Thoughtseize is out. And losing the Delver on the draw, I think play draw dynamics are really at play here. Cecil is a good card, but he was not good there. If he'd been any other type of blocker, first of all, it's hard to find 2/3 Death Touches for 1 black mana. But the fact that he does damage to ourselves, it was negative there. By the way, if you see anything where I could have won, please tell me, because I'm like, I rewatch these and I scrutinize them and I read the comments. I read every single comment. I even reply to every single comment, because the reason I'm doing this is it's nice to share my wisdom and all, but I also want to get to be a better player. I think this is a great deck to just pick up to work on your fundamentals, combat math and stuff like that. Of course, you can get what my opponent is playing Delver. That's probably the best deck if you just want to get good at Legacy. Just play a bunch of Delver. But I would say that this is great because it involves a lot of combat math. It involves a lot of thinking, but you don't have the complexity of multiple colors. And you don't have to really wonder what you're going to fetch. You're always going to fetch Swamp unless you're going to fetch a Surveil Land. It's mostly just sequencing, keep draw dynamics, whether you're the beatdown, whether you're the control. Those are like the key kind of skills that this deck flexes. This hand, I mean, a mono black hand with double... Well, I mean, no, we have 2 spells here. I think we just him twice. I think what I'll do is I'll Dark Ritual him, and then I'll him again the second turn, and I'll shock. That doesn't get us anywhere, though. The thing, like, they can recover from that. They might just have a Delver flip it, and we've used, like, tons of cards. I think I mulligan this. Okay, and we're rewarded for our mulligan because we have freaking Leyline of the Void. We have 2 lands. We'll just get Douthie out. I think Leyline is going to significantly hobble them, and they're not going to expect it. So, if we already have Leyline, Mai is way better than Douthie. We do need this second land. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the land out tapped. And then next turn I want to him them. And I think hemming them is going to be more important than Douthieing them. Douthie costs a lot of mana and it just dies. Whereas Mai at least does some damage along the way. I think I'll put back the Bauble. I think Bauble is an unknown card, but it might suck. Okay. I think we're favored here in this game. They mulled the 6 as well. So as long as this is on the table, which is on the table as long as they don't find they're probably one of Brazen Borrower, then they're never going to be able to murk us. They're not going to be able to get Delirium. It's good. And also they're never going to be able to get Delirium for the purpose of... I'll play this tapped. And this does kind of suck if they waste this because then we don't have a second land. But what my plan is to Douthie and then to him them and then to Mai, I think. Because him might reveal what would be a good card. No, I don't actually think that there's anything in their deck that I would sacrifice Douthie for. So I don't think that it's necessary to do that sequence. Delver is a way that they can still win around him. Bubble. And they now have a high likelihood of flipping him. If they wait till my turn and then check their top card, they can sequence and they get 2 looks essentially at flipping him. I think I'm just going to stick the Douthie. It hits for 3. It's a small thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to Douthie. And I'll just double Douthie and see if they can catch up with that. They could definitely daze here. They're bobbling themselves. So this is what I mean. Like, if you pick up Delver, you're going to build your fundamentals. The thing that sucks about Delver is the fact that you have to buy 4 Volcanic Islands, which is like, $4,000 basically. It's really expensive. Okay, they should flip here. They saw the card on top and they saw that it was a non-creature, so this will flip. Ponder, okay. So they're going to hit us first, but we're going to have double flip Delver essentially. They have removal, we don't. Volk. But Delver is a cheap deck to build other than the Volks. And it's so frustrating that there is the reserve list, which is why I will continue to make these no reserve list decks so that everybody who wants to get into Legacy has like a reasonable stepping stone. I don't think it's reasonable to say, hey, do you want to play Legacy? Okay, go out and spend $4,000 on these cards that they refuse to print again from like 1993. Like that's not how you get people into Legacy. You show them stuff like this and they're like, oh, okay, that's like, I can afford that if saving up for a few weeks, All right, another Delver. So we could have a race here. Bowmaster is probably our best draw now. All right, I'm just going to keep Douthieing because these definitely hit for 3. And let's see if they force here. They may force or daze. I do think, unfortunately, that we could lose this just by the strength of daze. If they manage to flip Delver. And they did keep their Ponder, so I'm going to presume this is going to flip, and they're going to be hitting us for 6. And this is going to highlight the strength of their deck. Their deck is extremely good at, this is a very unfavorable matchup for them, but we had the luck of getting Douthie down, and it's not even going to matter because they're going to be hitting us for faster than we can hit them. And if I take a turn off to him, it's just like, do I want to pay 6 life to him them? No, I don't. So we're going to drop to 11 here. They're still at a sprightly 17. I really don't know how we can win this other than we draw land, we draw Baragoyf, and they don't have interaction. They're brainstorming here, trying to flip their Delver, which I presume they're going to succeed here. Yeah, them having double Delver, these were the only cards that were relevant, them and the Cutters, but the Cutters are way slower than Delver. And this is a reason to continue to play Delver, is it still, after all these years, it is a 3/2 flyer on turn 2. You play turn 1 and turn 2 it's already attacking. So we're going to take 6 here. Oh, wow. They have a Wasteland too. Yeah, we're dead. The best draw in our deck is now Fatal Push. And then we need to draw a lot of other cards to be able to come back. Wasteland lets us cast a Mai. I think our hopes of winning this are extremely low. Mai, unfortunately, also makes Fatal Push hurt us. And I don't regret putting the one of Leyline in my deck, but it hasn't done anything in this game, really. Unfortunately, it's just lined up wrong. We're at 5. We've got 1 turn. If we draw Fatal Push right now and they don't have a Bolt, we can live for a turn. No, we actually died a Fatal Push because it'll do 2 damage to us. So maybe, I didn't have a choice. I'm not going to not play out my... Okay, so they take some damage here, but it doesn't really matter. There's no way we can win. Yeah, even a Baragoyf doesn't do it. We're dead. I can't think of a single draw. Yeah, Bowmasters would have begun 3 turns ago. So, yeah, like trophy's dead, but those were good games. That was exciting. I'll see you in the final round. Final round, we're up against frequent trophy leader Lars NL. I assume that means Netherlands. Yeah, this hand's fine. We don't have a second land. I think we just turn one Breregoyf and make them have the force. Maya is insane if they're on the Affinity deck, but it's not as insane on the draw. This might not have been a keep. Just in case they have the force, we're like dead in the water. But we'll learn what they're on. Cloud Post. Okay. So we have a little bit more time. Now we have a second card to play. I think it's better to bobble them. See whether they're on blue or green Cloud Post. They're probably on blue Cloud Post. K command. All right, that's troubling. Well, I'm going to Dark Ritual my Nethergoyf. So Nethergoyf is almost certainly going to get exiled by this K command next turn. But it's okay. Like, I mean, they're going to exile something with it. And I'm not going to sit still. Maya will get some damage in. They do have the card that lets them get life back. The other Locust. We have Damping Spheres in the sideboard, which are pretty good against this archetype. They force the Nethergoyf. Interesting decision. Scorn. Why force that? That seems puzzling. I mean, this is an extremely skilled player we're talking about. They may help that my hand's all in. They force that too. All right. If we don't draw a land, we're screwed. They clearly have some like degeneracy going on over there. All right, land. That's great. Now we can get Bowmasters on. They have K command in hand. So my instinct is to go ahead and just play out because Bowmaster is way more important. And then at least when they remove they're going to take some damage. We already have 4 card types, so we can bring back Nethergoyf later. Do they have yet another force? Is that what they're thinking about? That would be crazy to force to nothing. They're casting the K command now to just get a creature. They may not have land. They do dodge. Oh, so they draw a card. We'll see whether they keep the top. They're probably looking for land and One Ring. They did top. Okay, that's scary. If they have another K command, they can exile her. If they have One Ring, they can cast it. They do have 4 mana now. Okay, they have like 5 mana now? Yeah, 4 mana still, because the other one was tapped. Okay, stock up. I will hit them. Okay. I'm not feeling good. Their deck is extremely powerful. I think next turn it's got to be Bowmasters rather than Breregoyf. Breregoyf gets chumped all day long. But Breregoyf may actually be sided out. It sounds sad, but it's true. Like, they have K command to create tons of spawns, and the spawns can block Breregoyf all day long. Another I'm just going to play this out tapped. I mean, I could bring Nethergoyf back. That doesn't feel like the right thing to do here. I'll attack and see if they block. If they block, then I will go ahead and Breregoyf. Because I don't care about my life. Like, I'm not going to lose to combat damage here. Okay. I'll just play tapped. They don't have soft permission. And then I can at least surprise them. They gain, the Glimmer Post, they gain 4 life. It's freaking crazy. And it also buffs their land. Now they have tons of mana. 8 mana. Here comes the big dude. Yep. They get shocked, and then this gets exiled. And if they have other colorless spells, like, we're totally screwed here. I'm going to wait till they plus, and then I'm going to Bowmaster. I'm going to go after their life total. They can easily exile Bowmaster if they find a colorless spell. This is not a good situation to be in. This Planeswalker is huge. Ultimate is 11. Maybe I should have pinged this. If they have a K command, they can just cast it and I'll scoop. They do have a K command. Okay. Disruptor Flute? What is this? Oh, that exiles it. Okay, whatever. This card is... you're not going to hear a lot of salt from me. I'm trying to stay positive. But this card is... they never should have printed it. They only print cards like this because they don't think about Legacy. Because Wizards, like, Legacy is not a big profit center for Wizards, so they don't think about, like, what are the impacts of printing essentially an uncounterable, like, you can technically counter it, but it's just, I don't know. Okay, so Torpor Orb, get in the deck. Unmask. Sadly, might be worth playing. Because Because so much of our deck is dead. Baragwayf is just too much mana. He's too slow. I guess I'll go down to like 2 of them. It's unfortunate we don't really have... I mean, maybe we do want him just because he is a beater. Cecil's not bad. Douthie does like literally nothing against their deck. They don't use their graveyard for anything, I don't think. But he is a beater. Him's great. Yeah, their mana just balloons so rapidly. And it like... You're on the draw. You're double forcing the first 2 plays of your opponent, and you're still winning that game handily. That's crazy. I like Maya a lot here. I think it is probably trimming the Baragways. I mean, K-Command is just such a backbreaking card. We could absolutely trim the Fells too. But those can kill Planeswalkers if the game goes really long. But if the game goes long, we lose. Oh, wait, stop. I didn't mean to put that one in. I meant to put Damping Sphere. No! Oh, no, I put the wrong freaking artifact. Okay, hopefully we don't draw it. This is not a keep. I guess it is a keep. Like, maybe we get lucky, but, like, they're not going to be doing anything eventful. I'm going to keep this just because of the Wasteland. I mean, there's nothing to draw to is the problem. Like, we don't have any big mana plays. I think we need a mulligan this. This is a Baragwayf. Turn 1 Baragwayf. Gosh, there's so many freaking lands. If they just force the Baragwayf, we literally do nothing. And Baragwayf, as we established, is extremely weak against K-Command. And we'll only have like 1 type in the graveyard. Well, I guess we'll have 2. I'm not going to go all in on Baragwayf. I'm going to mulligan one more time. Okay, there's a Torpor Orb we can put back. This is actually by far the best hand we've seen. I'm going to keep this. Torpor Orb goes back. Baragwayf goes back. Okay. So we're going to go Swamp, Dark Ritual, him, and then Cecil. I can't believe I put the wrong artifact in. I'm so embarrassed, my excellent friends. They look very similar. Like, thematically, they're just these artifacts that don't do... I don't know. I'm just trying to justify my dumb decision. Okay, we got a Karn and a One Ring. That's what I like to see. Okay, we might get there, but this is 2 damage per turn, and then 4 once we get there. It's slow. They have a lot of time. Hopefully that was like the payoffs in their hand. A single K command for 1, and our win con's off the table. We need to draw land before we can draw threats. If we draw a Bowmaster, I will play it before I waste them. If I draw Mai, I will play her before. Like, those are the best 2 cards in our deck at this point, because we can actually cast them. Okay, they gain 1 life. I'm not going to waste that land. There we go. Everything's coming up Millhouse, as the kids say. We'll take 2. They take 2. Lifelink's not going to be super relevant here. Mai's coming out. Please don't force her. All right. The Wasteland is on the table. They're going to be incentivized to try to bait. They're dismembering Mai. Yeah, you're dropping to 13. I mean, like, that's a very reasonable call. It's expensive life-wise. They're tapping the tomb. Is this the exile? We're not going to win this. We're not going to win this. They got freaking K-Command. Ugh. And now they have mana. Yeah. This deck is so frustrating to play against. I'm sorry. I kept my composure through the first 4 rounds, but oh, it's so frustrating and so unfun to play against this deck. Even though we're an aggro deck, we should waste them. We should waste the tomb. It sucks. We have 2 Baragwayfs in our deck that we're drawing 2. That we don't want to draw because we don't have the mana. Okay, they had another Ancient Tomb. I think that was correct play. If they had the Karn, or like we may have delayed them by a turn. I'll dodge that. All right, that was my only dodge. I'm sorry, I'm not going to play anymore. That was cartoonish. If this were the other card, we would be in a very strong position. Okay, so that was if you think that was premature, don't worry. That was not premature. We were losing that game. They were going to ramp very quickly, and they still had 4 cards in hand. Okay, so that is like a skill that you need to learn as a Magic player, is when to just scoop and go do something else, and that's what I'm going to go do right now. I had a great time recording this league. The deck felt great. Don't make the mistake I did of bringing in Torpor Orb against the big mana deck, bringing in your Damping Sphere. Again, I'm just going to be kicking myself for that for the rest of the weekend. So let's take a look at the list. there's nothing I would change about this. Like the fatal pushes were very relevant when we sideboarded them in, but in several matchups, they just didn't matter at all. So I don't think it's necessary to play main deck fatal push. And if you don't play main deck fatal push, then you don't have to worry about, and it could be like, okay, I think we should actually add a fourth fatal push. It is the best black removal spell, and we should probably just drop down a 1 torpor orb. First of all, there's no benefit to having 2 of them. But if you go up against like Death and Taxes, this is a good card, but I don't think it's necessarily a 2 of. I do stand by 4 Unmasks being in the deck. Like, we didn't really come up against like Storm or anything like that. The most aggro combo deck we went up against was Reanimator, which was a touch and go scary matchup, by the way. But Leyline, like our deck delivered the goods in that round. Absolutely. Is this a good deck to play against combo decks? Not particularly, but it's very good against Delver. We split the Delver matchup 1-1. I do think it is good against Delver. I think we got kind of unlucky with them. Like the one turn we got super lucky with the Leyline, and then they just had double Delver, and their Delvers flipped on schedule, and they were able to disrupt us. Like, even that's the thing you need to understand about Delver. Like, even one flip Delver backed by a bunch of Dazes, and your opponent just cannot get their Douthies and other things on the table, and you win. Just mathematically, you're going to attack them faster than they attack you. Mai was a standout card. She is exceptional. So, I mean, she could be a 4 of, but she's legendary. Cecil continues to be on the watch list. I'm not sure if he's good enough, but what will we put in this slot? He's way better than Stalactite Stalker in my mind. And the baubles did come up. They did buff Argoyce. They did show some information. We never had one of our baubles Bowmastered. Bowmaster isn't heavily played in the format right now. It's just blue-black tempo. So the format is really just blue-black tempo, blue-red tempo, and then Karnforge and the big mana deck that we played in the final round. Those are the 4 top decks by far. They're far and above the other decks. And I think this deck has an unfavorable matchup against some of them. But what Mai brings to the table gives us a lot of additional firepower in those matchups. Like, our opponent disliked Mai so much that they paid 6 life to dismember her, right? Like, she's just a 2/2 first strike, but that ability, that passive ability, it's almost kind of like you're like a black burn deck, but you don't need to play crappy burn cards that, are one shots. Like, Mai hits for 2 every turn while she's disrupting. She's basically an Eidolon the Great Revel. In fact, I'd argue she's better because she can be cast for 1 black mana and 1 colorless instead of double red, which nobody plays double red unless you're playing like mono red. Basically, you wouldn't like splash for that. And yeah, Mai is very splashable. So I think she's going to be a really good card going forward, especially in creature-centric decks. I wouldn't necessarily play her in blue-black tempo because blue-black tempo would be hurting itself constantly to like cantripping and casting fatal push and stuff. But if you look at our deck, we've got the Thoughtseizes, we got the Dark Rituals, we got the Baubles, and that's it. And I do think the Baubles are worth playing. You just kind of like, you're usually not going to draw them mid-game. Like, you're going to get them in your opener, and you can just play them before you play Mai. But I think she is the standout card of the deck. It was sad that we only connected with Beargrove like 1 time. And I don't even think we won that game. No, wait, we did win that game. There was one against Delver where we had the Beargrove and the 2 Nethergoyfs out. So this was an exciting league. If you're enjoying these, be sure to tell your friends. There's this guy named Be Excellent who's a suburban dad who loves helping people get into Legacy. That's like my big passion and my hobby, is just trying to convince more people to play the best format ever created, the highest skill, the lowest variance, the format where pretty much everybody I run into is super chill. You don't run into those like weird modern spike blowhards and stuff. You run into chill people who they want to play a tight game, but they also want to have fun and they want to be your friend. They're not trying to screw you over and like angle shoot you and stuff. They're just having fun because Legacy, the stakes are so low, right? You win the Eternal Weekend Championship, you get $4,000. Like, in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing, right? It's not like going on the Pro Tour and all that stuff. And Legacy probably won't ever be a Pro Tour, or it's probably not going to be a major priority for Wizards, which is why they don't think about like Ugin Oh, is that going to break Legacy? Well, it's pretty freaking cracked. The One Ring, that's an obvious example. Talmio, stuff like that. What is this going to do to Legacy? They don't think about that. So we have to kind of like deal with that through aggressive ban schedule. So you'll hear Legacy players talk about bans a lot, and that's the solution to Wizards not really thinking about Legacy very much. But because it's like kind of like this just old format, you can play literally any card. You don't have to pay, $15,000 for a Black Lotus just to be able to play any deck. Basically, they have like, you can play Vintage without a Black Lotus, but good luck. But it is pretty accessible. And I have tons of videos on my channel where we are jamming decks that can be built for like a few $100s. And this is one of them. And we put up a 3-2 positive record in a, against some pretty stiff competition. Lons NL is just like one of the best players on MTGO. And most importantly, we had fun, and I hope you will have fun going forward, and I hope you will be excellent to each other and party on.